kicking it off in game number 1. We'll have to see if Davenport Magic can continue or if Northwood is just the big bad kings of the mountain yet again.
We will see. We go from red to green, red to blue. This time, Northwood blue and Davenport black find themselves on the red side, and almost on the right side with a squishy save, and nearly on the right side. There we go, of a cross-court clearing shot and goal.
And Creams has left the match, unfortunately, so I'm assuming he either DC'd or he was specifically thinking that we were going to remake lobby, but either way, it is a goal. He left after the goal went in, so I think it's maybe just a frustration there. We'll have to see what's going on with the server later on, but at least for right now, Cam, Bolty, and Brock, that is that very weird name going on. I don't even know how to pronounce 0 and then several asterisks.
Just know that at certain points in the game, it will be Brock O'Clock. Okay, that's all I gotta say. But realistically, it was Cam time in their match against Ball State and others on their way to this finals of the LCQ. Cam was all over the place, especially with clutch last-second goals and OT slingers to send them to this point in time. Right now, it's Cam to try to best Zanil on the other end. He's dipped it off well to Brock.
Yeah, and being able to settle that one down is one thing, but you had mentioned that you covered this Davenport team. Cam was the playmaker who's kind of dominating a lot of that Ball State series and also probably a lot of the other ones, and that's really pretty significant, especially considering he was, I would say, maybe outside of Knight, the most dominant West player that we had seen for a long time before his transfer over to Davenport's area and roster. So being able to see him kind of take the reins of the attack is exactly, I think, what all of Davenport was hoping for.
Collegiate guru, no doubt about it. Knows how to compete against the top so many times in years of competition. Could all collect to a qualifying journey here to Texas for May Madness. But they've got to make sure they don't get scored on with goals like this. It looks like the DC or whatever was the reason to leave the lobby was no problem for Creams.
Man, what a touch as well. Bolty and Brock, looks like they're playing that pretty well, but Creams speed flips off the kind of delayed flick, and then instead of hitting it forward, he actually catches it, so it goes straight down. You can see both defenders got to go, wait a minute, that's exactly where I think he wouldn't be able to touch it, but Creams finds a way. One of the best players in all of collegiate, and even holding that level of a title comes with evidence sometimes, and right there he provides a key piece of it, cutting the lead in half, and now Davenport is out of their fantasy land and realizes, yes, it does appear we have to lock in against Northwood, as always.
And it might just come down to the solo play displays. I mean, it was Bolty with the cross-court clear. It was Cam with that beat on Zanil and the easy follow-up from Brock. And now it's that spectacular play from Creams. Who else is going to be the shining star on the field for game number 1? As it feels like the space is provided for players to make that moment theirs.
We even had Creams a while back on a Champ League show. Basically a collection of collegiate minds breaking things down, and Creams was a guest, and we talked about this Davenport roster, saying, hey, they're getting closer and closer, but they can't catch up to you. And it's because Creams always finishes. He says they're a hyper-aggressive squad, but eventually that does cost them, and I think Creams understood exactly where he needed to be.
Absolutely. Against the aggressive squad, you got to find the right time to punish. Creams capitalizing on that pass from Zanil from the other side of the field. Well done. Cam wants to respond and swiftly flip reset to the opposite post. Saved by Creams. Feels like there's no way around Creams if you're Davenport. This time it is Zanil to pester them. And Creams has this kind of forward-thinking approach where whether I boost or not, I'm going to be in your face.
He's very good at finding his angles. Sometimes it really comes down to having your first idea, and then once that gets taken away, having an escape hatch. And it feels like Creams always has at least 3 or 4. There's people who pre-jump him, try to take these weird 50s, and it always seems like he's able to squeak one by, and maybe he's going to be able to get a hat trick on this next shot because it is open from a distance, but he makes it count. 100% shooting on the field.
I said to myself, I'm done talking about Creams. I've said too much. Okay, maybe I haven't said enough. It's a sharp shot, top corner, and some players just force their way to having their name in the headlights. Davenport started the game quite well, 2-0 to kick things off. The tone that was set is just a shadow of what we see now.
Oh, wow, really nice put back by Bolty. Problem is that is all the contributions he's going to get outside of actually a boost steal. So Zanil going to be lacking for a bit, but it doesn't matter because Hockey still has a dribble all the way downfield to dissipate that pressure I think the biggest thing about Northwood is that you know their quality is always going to be peak. So giving away any free goals is one thing, but doesn't mean they're completely immune to it themselves. That one looked like a guaranteed goal, but Bolte just could not find the speed or any of the boost remaining to put it in.
That's that finishing factor Davenport needs, and now it's on the other end that it's required. Bolte be the one to dive, but the one defeating Zanil on their approach awaits the lunge there for Cam. It allows him to just send forward and them to respond. Controlling the tempo right now is Northwood, and that's exactly how they like it. It's Hockey around the corner. Zanil to catch this one and release to the sidewall. Hockey now, once more than just that first touch, climbs nearly above Brock as Brock handles it, ensures the 50-50. Important movement there around the ball to get some kind of challenge on it.
Cam from an angle, looking for Bolte to be able to clear the path, and there was certainly an effort there, but there was also 3 Northwood bodies. Creams trying to do it himself yet again. Yeah, it's team game, but seemingly very minimal trouble being able to get his shots off, and Davenport can't necessarily say the same. Even when they do get those shots off, Northwood, one of the best goal line defense teams that we have really ever seen assembled.
Ooh, well, get on the goal line, all of you, because you're sitting ducks on this shot from Bolte. Sometimes with a minute left and against Northwood, you got to pre-jump for the ball. Bolte, perfect position.
I'm not going to lie, Pyro, when I handed that off to you, I did not think that goal was going to happen immediately, mainly just because I saw the reset, but I'm thinking, well, that's not going to anyone, except player on the back post. I didn't see them, and I guess Northwood's defense did not either. That's a tough one to give up, but maybe it's an easy one to get right back. Creams with a reset goal line save going back around the defender. I have no idea how that one stays out.
Cam finds a way, and this time it's to pick up the pass from Brock. Could it be that Cam Bolte combo? It is for that attempted shot that reaches the corner. Maybe Northwood just surviving for overtime as they can't quite beat the touches from Davenport. Cam finds the middle, but Brock is defeated, and the ball intercepted well by Northwood. They're in search of extra time. They'll find it.
I really do like that last play by Cam. He went for the inside pass. It got deflected, but it was still in the danger area. Not able to actually get around the read and get into a dangerous position, but at the very least shows Davenport they're not going to be kicked around this game. They have the offensive skill. Certainly does with this man, Cam, looking for the goal line dunk. Cream has the escape hatch. He will take it to the corner, a back pass to preserve the attack, and then kickstart and ignition into something entirely different. Cam double too high to be able to wrangle around it.
Regulation was this bookended performance by Davenport. They started off strong and ended strong, but they're trying to drag that momentum into overtime. They've done well with a couple shots and some nice deflections against Creams. But Creams somehow still airborne and sends it in.
I mean, sometimes just undeniable. With a bump, and he's able to get the redirect. Such a place where it just feels like Davenport is secure, everyone's fine, and sometimes when the ball deflects off the first man, you're saying, okay, well, where's the second man? You don't need a second man. Creams has all 4 of the goals. It looks like we do have everybody agreeing on a server, that server being Central still. So unfortunately for Brock, who apparently is playing from Texas, woe is me with this 32 ping, cough, cough. But regardless, you know, internet can be a fickle thing, and especially with all of these players trying to make sure they're playing at their peak performance. I don't really mind waiting, but I will have to wonder, is that going to cool them down? And if so, does that benefit Davenport or really do harm them?
Okay, there was one player that was ridiculously on fire in game 1, and it was Creams. So I think Davenport may be hoping that just that player in particular was cooled down. But at the same time, I've seen Northwood do 5 to 6 hour competitions, and they still pop off at the end of it. There may be no end to that reign of terror.
And as we're also getting a word, turns out we are not just going to be hard committing to one server. The compromise reached between teams is that we will try to swap servers every 2 matches. So after this one, we'll go to 2 East, then after that, 2 Central, and then we'll close it out, if necessary, on East. So something to play for if you need your connection to be in, and Cam, he knows that. Kickoff merchant title, but that's an angle and a half.
The new title may work against Wonder in a kickoff later. That one, lovely from Cam. Do you really want to be meticulous about the whole server thing? I guess Davenport really want to win this game, as the next 2 games are going to be on East, and maybe the connection is not going to be great for Brock. We'll just have to see when we get there. For now, Davenport lead by 1.
And there's a second straight game to note that Davenport has come out and started in the lead against Northwood. Thing is, as we've often seen, leads are kind of a dangerous thing. It feels like you're all secure, but then everything goes out the window, especially if Brock is trying to do that. Get a reset past that first defender, but still can beat the second. Zanil trying to get cyberbullied, or at least avoid being shoved into a locker, and he's going to do some shoving of his own. You know, hurt people, Pyro.
I imagine it was more of a fraternity thing where they gotta get them inducted to the team. Zanil says, really? I'm not on the team still? But he'll be great in the midfield for getting that challenge. Brock, not so much. That ball leaves him, and a respawning Davenport player lands right on the ball. Haven't seen something as timely as that, though it didn't help him in the end.
Yeah, it's got to feel karmic if you are Northwood. Like, really, of all places to spawn, it's fine. We'll just get it on the next pass. Flawlessly done by Creams to put it onto the bumper of Zanil. And unfortunately, even when you have a player in goal, sometimes you're not expecting that pristine of a touch.
I feel like for Davenport, it's like RNG on your side. Potentially, I mean, that spooked both teams, and you still can't save the ball. What is it gonna have to be? You might just have to really outdo and outplay this Northwood team at every single step. That's surely what it's gonna take as we're reaching the halfway point. Game number 2, we're all tied up. That is a double commit for Davenport. This team needs to get a little more composed, especially with these bounce shot leading to Cam going backwards.
Clean, clear away. Thing is, one clear doesn't really do the job, especially when Creams is trying to find that weird angle. Bolty's going to lob that one right down, but I think he was playing for the 50. He had no other option. Northwood, so speedy and also so controlled. Look at that back pass into the read. Backboard read for Brock. Was able to get that one away, but he's called to action yet again. Oh my goodness, the violence, the speed from North right now. Davenport caught in a vortex. They really needed that clear.
Yeah, their head's on a swivel. I mean, and it will continue to be 2 demolitions for hockey. Davenport averaging 2, maybe even 1.5 players at a time on the field. This amount of demos with the back passes, with the cheeky infield link-ups, Northwood are keeping Davenport on their toes. Yet, the scoreboard is 1-1, and Cam has a shot attempt at the net. That ball gets no forward progress until the follow-up from Cam. Bounce off the corner, Bolty there to ascend towards it, playing the next touch of hockey. Brock will be next, but leads it back to the ground. Some balls are just being chosen to land on the ground instead of taking the shot here for Davenport.
Well, it just speaks to the respect that every player has to have for the skill level in this lobby, where even when a read doesn't look like much, they know it's just one little errant touch or one different communication to call out your teammate or ask for some assistance can dictate a lot. So no one wants to really dive in. Sometimes you have to, kind of like this one as Cam tries to shut down Creams, and he will not get that double, but it's fine. Zanil is still lurking. Goal line save. Hockey cannot be denied. And there's the comeback for the second straight game.
Right on the turnaround, Northwood fire away. Just comes down to those last second lunges. Cam was inches away from dragging that ball from the grip of hockey, but instead, it'll be Northwood to grasp this game again.
Cam into Bolty, into Brock, and that is exactly how you answer back. He sees Zanil and company kind of situated, waiting for a play, but they did not expect this.
No, and both on full boost as well. That speaks to how good the coordination and the comms were for Davenport. It's got to be crisp to move around those high-flying, quick players. Then again, for Northwood, they were a little bit stunted. Both players working on 0 momentum. Hard to read a tough shot on the other side, though. Zanil wants to follow up with the same. Gets the second try. Cam on the squishy save. I don't know, he might have to change that kickoff merchant back to the squishy saver title.
At the very least, as long as he's getting plays, I think Davenport is going to be happy. He's trying to be really a thorn in the side of Northwood. A couple times now I've seen him dive in, kind of ego chow, and I think sometimes if you just have a player who plays like a rabid dog, you kind of have to let him off the leash and just let him chase everyone down, or you just have Bolty looking upfield, nice tap down, a deliberate miss into the pass.
And of course, naive I was, so distraught over the miss from Bolty, but no, the answer is always there. The Bolty-Brock combo in 16 seconds from getting a win on the board.
I really do like that play as well, just being able to know that he can get in front of the defender, and as long as it beats that first play, it should be scoreable. But of course, the kickoff is as well, up until Zanil gets sent into the next zip code off the bump. That didn't work off kickoff. How about something a bit less conventional? from the dribble. Hockey also slapped out of the way. Zanil has a lot of space. Everybody just playing prevent defense for Davenport, but this time it's gonna work out. Davenport turning this BO7 qual into a BO5 after game 2 victory.
Game number 3. It appears that we're gonna get a game through here, and then we'll have a little extra time to sort out the server situations. But Taco, in the meantime, we get to focus on Carball.
Yeah, at the very least, we don't have to look at the BRB screen as we go back and forth. We might have to look at it a couple more times than we're used to, but for the most part, I think just being able to come down and actually play this high-level game is not one thing. It's a highly unusual situation in Rocket League, a game known for very little downtime between games, and suddenly it's being added on in. So it's a weird factor, but honestly, this is just another one of those mental hurdles you just got to leap on over if you're a player at this level, kind of like Cam. Seems like he's still warm, though not going to find that double past the defense.
I'm personally ready for the new era of Rocket League. Give me 5-minute breaks between each game. Every player has to go through a ban phase of each car as well, cycling through a few different alternatives. Now, of course, we want to move through as quickly as possible. That's why Cam is setting up for Bolty, and oh, what a devastating moment to find yourself with no boost.
And it's also one of those moments where you think it's going to rebound off the crossbar. It doesn't quite in the angle you're looking for. Same with this one. Is Hockey looks like an easy save, but honestly, very easy to rush that flip, and it goes into your own net. So you puts that one to the corner. Seems like everyone is reset on Davenport, which means Bolty might be able to get this read. No, in fact, he's not going to get it, and that's going to result in a eager Creams top shelf in this one.
One thing you can't do with these breaks is settle down Creams. Another precise shot top corner. Every other avenue was carved out by Davenport, but that one that split the seams.
And also just feel like one of those heartbreaking moments where you're thinking, okay, that's fine. Probably going to be figured out in the end, right? Nope, you take your eye off and it goes right into your net. That's just the margins you have to deal with. I think Davenport are intimately familiar with that one, and hopefully they have at least some form of comeback, as they've been actually the most part ones leaping out into lead first in most of these games. This is the first time we've seen Northwood actually get the first one on the board.
That's true. Davenport used to setting the tone, at least in this series, and well, now their response is required. Cam's double tap on the side is just missed. That requires Bolty to play interception. Talked about maybe Creams being that wide receiver, but on the defensive end, it is Bolty just trying to cut through those passing lanes. Slice and dice Northwood at every moment they can. Well, it's hard to slice them if you got no knives in the kitchen, no one left on the Davenport defense.
We gotta see what happens here is that you see Bolty back, and he feels flips at the last second. I think panicking as he saw the ball bounce up. I think when the ball cam goes off and you hear engines revving behind you, you think it's just gonna go straight into your net, and sometimes you have to feel like you're maybe gonna have to dodge a bump. There's too many factors, and even the very best in CRL are occasionally gonna get a weird flip. Not gonna get anything back off the kickoff. Air dribble results in just one player getting slapped to the side, and now here come Northwood on yet another attack.
Bolty, though, time provided to settle in a little bit. The right way as they can. This is Cam turning in straight for that. Brock wanted maybe the cutoff. Is gonna have to do it there above with the midfield. The flip reset gathered and the late pass to Bolty. Now the cross to Cam. That one's behind him. Have to take up the side wall. One defeated, but Hockey maybe not as depleted as he needed to be. Boost gone, but still the vigor to remain in the play. Brock with a shot that gets sent away.
Neil, another deep one to be able to, I would say, be caught by Cam, but say he's going to throw it right back, and that might lead something a little bit awkward, especially now that Davenport has found themselves in a pocket where they don't have any pressure. Luckily, that miss goes in, so here comes the counter. Heavy flick. That's a tough one even for Brock. That's why he catches it into the reset, saved on the goal line again by Northwood. Ricocheting back around. We'll find a kind of weaker clear in the midfield. Two players diving in on this one. Neither of them getting it. Surely a double tap. But no, a rare miss and a kind of rare break as well for Davenport's defense.
I feel like that gasp for me was so dramatic, but I was as sure as you were that the double tap was going to be locked in, and we'd have pretty much game 3 squared away. Instead, Davenport will have more shots to deny from Northwood. It's Bolty. See how much distance he can clear this ball with the pinch. Zanil says not as much as you had hoped for. Gets the interception there, and now Hockey's touch leads to Cream's air dribble. The last defender being hassled, bullied away.
And so after all of these awkward adjustments and server mishaps and change and everything, one thing remains. Cream's so good in the air. But of course, this one isn't just made by himself. It is the harassment being dealt out by his two compatriots in Zanil and Hockey. They're so good at being able to dazzle you up front and then immediately knock everyone else out of the way. With so many weapons, and sometimes you just got to go the old reliable of car smashing into another car.
It does work. It works on either end of the field. That's how well it works. It is going to be Bolty to catch this one off the ceiling with Cam. Everyone else just gets to rummage around on the goal line. It's a good play out of the handbook of Northwood for Davenport, but you got to do it 2 more times.
Bolty trying to go up for this one, and I thought I could see that one coming. Neither play was really truly playing the read. We're just going to be glancing all the way down, but in the final 30 seconds, it's doable for Davenport, but this is a situation where you really need a goal before it ticks down below 10 seconds. Otherwise, you're really going to have to rely on basically a kickoff or some miracle keep on up. But every clear from Northwood going to bleed off at least another 5-7 seconds.
And that's going to be just enough for Northwood. You've got the possession. You've got the closure into their own half, and they have certainly closed the door.
After a while, especially if you're shifting location potentially, as that was debated among the players, it kind of does take you out of the game. It's not able to let you really focus in, but I want to see these players playing in their natural element because we're not going to be seeing this stuff on CECC main stage within the lands. Hopefully this is giving people good practice, especially with the passing plays. Davenport keeps them up, though. That goal line rejection by Zanil keeps things fresh, at least for now. Brock working their way through the corner, past one, not past Hockey. Cam, one more effort, but not nearly strong enough.
I did love that for Brock, though. It showcases in the corner of like, yeah, Cream's popping off. I'm really not scared, though. I'm still going to take on these 50-50s. I'm still going to do my best to get the advantage. Will my team do a better shot chance? That is the pass between Cam and Brock that left a little more to be desired. Additionally, that save from Bolty not connecting Cam had the dive on no boost. Precarious positions for Davenport to start out. Game number 4, including this, the double from Hockey.
Bang from Hockey as well. That's not even much of an angle. That's the defense covering pretty much all the likely scenarios. Okay, that's fine from an angle. Oh, wait, that's Hockey on that one? Yeah, might as well just tick up the goal counter and reset to kickoff.
And what a play from Hockey. This player needs to pop off at any time, and they will. Wonderful work there on the double tap. Davenport just kind of putting themselves in these awkward positions on these misflips. That's yet another one that will leave them stranded.
And being able to get these breakaway goals is one thing, but it also just comes from a player maybe being a bit overeager or actually just maybe overconfident in the read. That ball bounced off the corner, and then as soon as you see Brock go for it, he realizes, thought that was going to be a little bit weaker. Sometimes if you can't see exactly where that corner begins, you think that ball is going to bounce a bit more middle and not out, and I think that's exactly what happened on that last play. A rough one to give up, especially in these games, increasingly becoming closer and closer to must-win for the side of Davenport. Zanil mercifully going to miss that one.
We are really getting close to the death timer. It almost feels like the momentum shifts so heavily in favor of Northwood makes game 4 feel like it. But I believe in the bounce back, the rebound of of Davenport. Oh, but they're gonna have to save this shot from Hockey. I tried, Taco, but Hockey's just built different.
And really just a quality play. A lot of boost. Doesn't even use all of it immediately because he knows he doesn't actually have to get around that one to the ceiling. Keep it close off the ceiling, then off the backboard, and then in poor defense. They kind of knew what was happening, but I think after that first touch off the ceiling, they knew exactly where that one was going.
It indeed. From Hockey's point of view, he had a great idea of it as well. Taking a little pressure off of Creams for this game, saying, you know what? Let's share the wealth a little bit. Davenport just trying to pick up pennies as they grab some boost and get a couple chances at the net. Cam's going to sling this around the corner, play this slowly, and honestly, great strategy because no one from Northwood was biting.
100%. This looks like a mistake, but really it's just smart play by Cam because as Hockey goes to this, he wants to leave it for Zanil, but then Zanil understands if he hits that, it's going right back to Cam anyway, so they both hesitate, and because of that, Cam just says, well, if I throw my car in, I might be able to angle this one directly past that near post. That's exactly what happens. Maybe a little bit of light for Davenport to be able to chase this game into, but for the most part, it's still going to take a lot of doing. Maybe through some bumps as Zanil's going to get sent out of the way. Bolty just going to test to see if Hockey, you still awake? It certainly is. Able to get that aerial clear to the side.
Maybe take him, put him in a funk as well. Just disrupt this rhythm, this drumming beat of Northwood. They're trying to beat them out of it with these bumps, with these harassment plays. 3.5 minutes still in, 2.5, excuse me, still in this game. Leaves for plenty of time for Davenport. Much more so when this was the scoreline in the last game. Cam doing everything he can to get in front of these shot chances of Northwood. Creams, though, had the read on the sidewall. Brock just gets the save.
Hockey light touch and could not be much lighter than that. So here's that. It will be a brief giveaway, but that's why everyone on Northwood is back. Even with 2 minutes remaining, don't want to give away any easy ones, and doesn't seem to be an issue so long as he clears. Keep going directly down the line and into Northwood players. The combinatorial play seemed like from the side of Davenport has evaporated somewhat in the essence of just Northwood starting to ramp up the pressure, hitting into open space, and I think Davenport at this point just needs a chase to get to the reads, much less actually have a plan once they get there.
Talked about with Cumberland, kind of the strategy being to enable next, and it feels like with Cam having 3 of the team's 3 shots in this game and the goal, maybe that is the player to activate here. Give him the rock, let him soar. Having a tough time doing that, stuck in their own end. Cam was ready for the counter attack, but unfortunately Davenport couldn't get it across. That pass to Cam also intercepted. Northwood closing the lanes for Davenport to turn this around.
Cam, nice demo. Problem is no more boost. Bolty is the only one with it. That's fake underneath, but the problem is took so long. The respawning Creams gets the first save. Hockey backing him up, and now Cam is where you want him to cook. He's a star player for a reason. Back post pass, or maybe just a shot, maybe something in between. Regardless, it's still going to come to nothing. And there's another chance, unfortunately, out the window, but maybe they're gifted one right back. Open net chance. Another one off the bar. Bolty can't beat him. A golden opportunity, and no one's able to take it.
Just so difficult. I mean, the ball's so high, there's so little time to get to that shot. Brock probably had the best shot at it with that redirect opportunity, at least to get it in the hands of Cam. With under 30 seconds remaining, you got to think that was their best shot at it. Bolty still wants to try, double tap down. Brock is there in position. Cam as well. Final effort. One more touch from Bolty. Nothing will find its way between the uprights. And Northwood Blue, well, that will bring them from 2 games won in the series to 3. Unless I speak a little bit ahead of myself.
Cam scores from an impossible angle in the first corner, and then he scores from a crazy angle on the another one. And this is just one of those moments where he's saying, okay, most likely they don't have to touch this one. And if they don't, then I could probably get this shot off. And hey, might even have a shot at this game pending this kickoff. They're doing something pretty ordinary, but it's enough of a bounce to find Cam on the wall. Look at this setup. Hockey is already pre-jumping him. A 50. That's Brock to contain, but with no boost, he has to hit it middle, and he mistimes the flick. Northwood getting away with it at the end of game 4. One more game potentially all Northwood needs, but Davenport needs 3 straight to snatch away a spot.
The long road. It was never an easy road to Texas. Davenport have done so much already to get to this stage. Defeating Ball State a couple days ago, and now having taken a game off of Northwood, they have definitely put some of the stones together across that treacherous river, but oh, how the Rapids rage on. And Northwood, coupled with the great showing out of Hockey in the last game, but all in all, the end-to-end performance from Creams has bested them so much. There's a lot to quell for Davenport to make their journey reliable.
Especially when Bolty is causing havoc for Creams. He doesn't jump in time, but Brock certainly does. The early lead yet again for Davenport.
Yeah, I think last game was the only time they hadn't done it, but more importantly, this is the shift Davenport need. Trying to set the tone, try to gain control in the game and push Northwood back.
I think being able to get those early goals is one thing, but it also just shows that they have to involve players. The teamwork from Davenport is really what has set them apart. Yes, of course, it is nice to be able to get a lot of boost and use a solo play and go forward, but I think especially in our last LCQ final and this one, we're seeing that it sometimes does take a village, and Cams is hoping for some reinforcements from that village. He's not able to get the first one, but that sets up to Bolty. Near angle double tap. He's getting bumped out of the way, so he can't even reach that read.
Yeah, not quite in reach there, but Brock's going to carry this from the corner instead. And Bolty challenging Hockey, and Cam has space here. Does defeat Hockey. Cream's last defender, just stretching for the save on the backboard. Nice angle on it as well, getting enough power to stop Davenport and eventually make them reach their own side of the field. Corner ball here tapped up by Hockey, and Brock would love to just find a teammate here. The midfield pass actually found, and Davenport give it a good go in terms of the back and forth.
Ooh, and Bolty has also been getting calm, saying, hey, Zadil's about to end your car's life, but no, he is able to actually continue on playing, but not really for much fruition on that play. Ball's just ricocheting around. This game has a certain chaotic feel that the rest of the series does not seem to have, but it's returning to orderly play, especially with that setup into Zanil. That's also saved on the near side. Cam quick to it, and a demo on the backside rotation means it's wide open for Brock for 2.
That's the way to do it. You said it was chaotic. Maybe it was finding order. But Zanil, actually the one to try to get back in rotation, was roadblocked by a Davenport player. Sometimes you just gotta lay your car's life on the line for the better of the team.
And it's one of those moments also that shows why people say, wait, why don't you just rotate wide and always take away options? Why do you always have to be tightly rotated with your teammates? Because one time when a player gets demoed and you rely on him to really secure the entire defense, it's going to be a givey for the other side. Davenport in a game they really do have to lock in on are playing superbly. They're finding their reads, they're playing good on defense, and more importantly than not, I think they're stopped diving in. It's a lot more patient, and I think that's the one thing that's been kind of kicking them in the behind for a lot of these games.
And patience working here for Davenport. They kind of let Hockey cross the court with that air dribble, and Cam had that time to do the same. Again, setting up the roadblock that Northwood cannot get through.
I really do like this from Cam. I like his deliberate tap down the back post. He doesn't actually find it, but it is nice to see that the Cam effect was in effect on that one, as we're saying, hey, well, he's the playmaker. He's the one that Davenport's offense is going to run through, and yet he's the one with 2 assists, letting Brock and Bolty really be able to carry the offensive load here, and it might even get better if Bolty finds his way through. Reset, got to be immediately cyberbullied to the sideline.
Big Creams now. Does get over top one. Cam finds clearance with every single clear that finds the midfield line. There's more seconds shaved off the clock. They've got to make sure, though, that that doesn't enable the attack of Northwood, so they can strike at any time. Neil's couple touches in the wall dash just to follow. He is incessantly attacking this ball, leaving no breathing room for Davenport.
Bolty's playing out of his mind right now. He's pre-jumping everything. He's getting the crucial saves on the goal line. He's able to pretty much lock everything down. Maybe he can have even more time in the spotlight. Yes, sir. Hockey had the pass, and he could not get to it in time. And play like that from Davenport is important. It's important to play predictively, but that is in a whole other conversation. Brock, 4th goal on the pre-jump.
Okay, I don't think I've seen this kind of pre-jumping since I watched maybe Boise State in every collegiate game. Durtho lives on the ceiling, but no, it is Davenport that live in the minds of Northwood this match, owning the pitch for game number 5.
That is absurd. I love those types of plays as well, because it's, you know, that they have to move forward as fast as possible. They're not going to be splitting hairs with some interesting, delicate touch. They're going to tap it forward, so why not pre-jump? 3rd goal for Brock on 3 shots. That's the efficiency you need to bring against some of the best to ever do it in the collegiate scene in Northwood. And right now, you would not know it if you're just tuning in and watching this game go down.
Talk about some of the weight off the shoulders as well of Cam. We've discussed in moments where he kind of puts on the cape, has to act hero, but in this case, you mentioned and you've highlighted Bolty on defense and Brock on attack. They are making this game look a little bit easier just from the team effort. That is going to be the combination of Northwood to nearly find the net. Zanil's shot being wide means that they'll still be left with the goose egg as we get to the final seconds of this game.
Crazy deflection as well, but that's really all that's crazy about it with Hockey. He was able to get it in the first place, but yeah, nothing really kick-started for Northwood. 8 shots, so definitely they're not helpless on attack, but the defense has stepped up, and more importantly, the finishing is what Davenport needs. They had everything in this. They had demos, they had counterattacks, they had flip resets, they had crazy pre-jumps, and most importantly, they have another win, bringing it ever closer to continuing this series, but they got to keep it going. I think that's a testament to really what Davenport has been trying to do. Shaner's in the lobby right now, giving them live feedback, trying to keep them on task, and right now, maybe just in the gym as well. Cam muscles through the lead block. Northwood, what I thought was a guaranteed goal, instead just going to be deflected away.
3 assists from Cam in the last game. I want to keep a magnifying glass on his play style, see if he continues to play his facilitator role in those key moments. Well, so far, the role certainly still being played by Bolty on that defensive end. Brock, actually, the loft gets over hockey. Zanil left to play the ball instead, and nearly Davenport activating Brock on the attack.
It was a terrifying one as well, because Northwood was going all the way back. Probably could still recover for the read, but you never really know, do you? Especially the same with Zanil and Hockey, both committing on this one as they're crisscrossing each other on the rotation. Deflection across to Bolty, pass to Cam, trying to cut in on the near post. Gets too far around it, just didn't trust that deflection instead.
Hockey keeping Cam on 2 wheels at a time and then doinking it ahead. You love to see the cheeky play style, and then nearly the fake for the goal, opening the lane for Zanil.
That's a weird one as well. Creams lobs that one high, but Zanil's just chasing this one down. I think Cam tried to backstep this one so he didn't get landed on. So maybe he thought Hockey was going for the bump, but that's part of why you have to be attentive. If you're going to go for a bump, you know it'll delay the defender. And when that happens, you dive in. Looks like an easy goal, but it's really just a masterclass in timing and positioning.
It's only 1 goal, but it is a indication for Davenport. You just can't let this game slip away. We've seen how Northwood have punished on even the smallest mistakes out of Davenport. This is when you've got to be as consistent as ever, as clinical as ever. Bolty not only with the save, but he stays in front of the ball to deny the follow.
That's one of the craziest saves I've seen, especially with the drama of the situation, keeping it at a 1-goal game and maybe being able to march right down and get an answer. Bolty takes it to the ground. What a save, Zanil from the backboard.
This doesn't feel like Rocket League anymore. This feels like a boxing match with the most egos on either side. They don't just want to show each other that they can best these teams. They want to show the world. And that just might be what's done. Bolty is doing it on every end of the field right now. And Brock, well, he just wants to do just as much. There it is, the lead for Bolty.
I love this play from Brock because he has a reset. Zanil knows it, and so does their Hockey coming in from the left side of the screen. But he knows as soon as that first player challenges, I'm tapping, just be ready. That's why Bolty usually doing the wrong thing. You don't want to just linger underneath a ball because it slows you down, but he knows that he has the beat so long as Brock is able to time it properly. So well worked for Davenport again. And they're right back into this game as we're quickly approaching halftime. And Northwood's, again, I think at one point was a triple match point.
Absolutely. Yeah, down to double, and if Davenport continue what they're doing, we'll be going to single match point for both teams in game number 7. Davenport do seem stretched a little thin on their own end. That Cam will lunge this forward just to buy themselves a little bit of time. Well, Bolty just got, hit to the sky and nearly in position for the pass, but ended up backflipping. So that kind of extinguishes the otherwise fiery effort from Davenport. Brock has to lunge for this. He has to buy his second defender some time, but time wears thin as the bump gets through.
That is why fakes are the most impressive and also the most important when you have a player and you know it's a great option to pass. So Zanil keeps it instead, gets past one, and then at that point, it's just one defender in the way. Make it hard for him. Trying their absolute hardest to stay on the pitch on all 4 wheels, but not able to be done. Davenport's going to fall behind again, and maybe they can answer straight back as that was a crazy deflection, unfortunately for them. Going to go well wide.
Demolition there, long clear. Brock's got to chase this. He might not have time. Zenil takes the entire lobby by surprise, scoring this goal.
That's a little bit too aggressive in my mind from Bolty. I think you see Brock moving forward, because if Bolty's calling a double tap, you have to trust in your teammate, and that's the downside sometimes if you don't get those reads off. It comes right into Zenil. He just claps that one downfield, giving away possession, but ultimately he also, I don't think, was aware that Brock was fully committing to this read, and now it's gone from an okay situation to now something that is a bit untenable from Davenport. They have to move quickly and efficiently, and they can't allow any cherry pickers. Hockey was trying to fulfill that role, but not able to get his touch. Maybe Creams can provide it. Double tap. No one's up for it. He's got to reset two to the back post, but maybe just even him doesn't have enough boost in his tank.
And you got to be surprised. I mean, Creams, it feels like he's done everything this series, and we were ready for more, but it just need a little more boost to enact on that flip reset to make it useful. In this scenario, though, it's going to be Northwood just trying to climb back towards the other side of this half with wall dashes and 50s galore. Even pinches to the corner are in store. Zenil, again with the wall dash, brings it down to the ground. Round pinch towards the net, forcing the hand of Davenport. The respect is there from defense, but now they got to earn it on the other side.
Cam finding around to Brock, back past Zenil, man marking that one as he knew exactly where it was going to go. Problem is he gave it right up to Brock off the backboard. Bolty too far away, and now here comes the counter. Zenil pre-flip. Cam with the save, but he flips into it again. Does get a beat over the top. Cream's going to be chased by Bolty, but no more boost. You can see the desperation really settling in on our red side.
Oh no, this could be the dagger, and it is Zenil. He threads the needle, locks in nearly the win for Northwood.
I'm not gonna mention what has been put into our quick chat, text chat, but let's just say Northwood is feeling pretty good about this one and wants Davenport to know about it. A dominant performance down the stretch, but unfortunately Davenport, you have the momentum, but this is exactly why we say against these top teams, you can take a couple games, but it is so difficult to be able to keep that up across 4 individual games in a best of 7. And it looks like Northwood is going to be cleaning this one up, and the destiny from what most people thought was pretty apparent at first. Took a while to get there, but we do have our 2 LCQ qualifying teams in to 2025 May Madness for CECC. It is St. Clair Green, and now the Northwood Timberwolves.